Dubai, August 2023, 2:47 in the morning. Omar sits in front of his laptop, eyes burning from 6 straight hours of reading. The PDF he downloaded promised everything he'd ever wanted. Control over reality, power over unseen forces, wishes fulfilled. By dawn, he's muttering verses in a language he doesn't understand. By 9 a.m., his wife finds him in the corner of their bedroom, shaking uncontrollably, seeing things that aren't there. He keeps repeating one word over and over. Ifrit, Ifrit, Ifrit. It takes 70 recitations of Ayat al-Kursi to bring him back to reality. When the Imam finally asks what happened, Omar gives a chilling answer. I opened a door I should never have touched. The book that destroyed Omar's night has destroyed lives for 800 years. It's been banned by Saudi Arabia, outlawed in Morocco, condemned by Egypt, destroyed in Iraq, burned in Syria, suppressed by the Ottoman Empire. Even France banned it when they controlled Algeria. 8 centuries, 7 governments, countless attempts to erase it from existence. And yet it survives. This is Shams al-Ma'arif, the Son of Knowledge, written by a Sufi mystic in 1225, corrupted by dark sorcerers used to summon jinn. The most dangerous book ever written. And tonight, I'm going to tell you everything.
If you don't subscribe to my channel, I'll lock you in a jar like this too.
To understand this book, you need to understand the man who wrote it and the world he lived in. The year is 1165. The Almohad Caliphate is at its peak, stretching across North Africa and into Spain. In the Algerian city of Annaba, then called Bona, a child is born. His name is Ahmad ibn Ali al-Buni. He isn't born into a family of sorcerers or dark magicians. His father is a Sufi scholar, a man devoted to the Quran, teaching its wisdom to anyone who would listen. Young al-Buni grows up surrounded by knowledge. He masters Euclidean geometry before most kids his age can read properly. He studies the 99 names of Allah with an intensity that impresses even the elder scholars. Caravans passing through Bona bring stories about King Solomon's ring, about how he controlled the jinn, and young al-Buni debates these travelers, often winning arguments against men 3 times his age. At 20, he makes a decision that changes everything. He becomes a wanderer. First, he travels to Mecca for Hajj. Then he settles in Alexandria, Egypt, because Alexandria in the late 1100s is the intellectual center of the Islamic world. The libraries are flourishing. Greek philosophers debate with Islamic scholars. Books are being written at an incredible pace. It's a golden age of knowledge. Now remember this date, 1187. Al-Buni is 22 years old, and Salahuddin Ayyubi conquers Jerusalem. It's a massive victory for Muslims, a day of celebration across the Islamic world. But while Muslims are winning military battles, something else is happening in their societies. Magic, the kind spread by crusaders and other enemies, is becoming common. Muslims are being accused of using sorcery to win their battles. The line between faith and superstition is blurring. Fast forward to the year 1200. Al-Buni is now 35. At the Al-Azhar Mosque in Cairo, 10,000 students are debating alchemy and angels. In Baghdad, the so-called City of Knowledge, books are being printed faster than anyone can count. But here's the thing. During this era, borders don't really exist the way they do today. Christians, Jews, and Muslims sit together, debate together, exchange ideas. A lot of Israelite stories from Jewish tradition start mixing into Islamic culture. Muslims are reading Maimonides, discussing his philosophy, incorporating his ideas. Baghdad's printing industry is massive. If you wanted a haircut, you could tell the publisher which chapters you wanted in which order, and by the time you got back from the barber, your custom book would be printed. That's how many books were being produced. But quantity doesn't equal quality. Scholars are debating absurd questions. How many angels can sit on the tip of a needle? Discussions that have nothing to do with improving human life. knowledge for the sake of knowledge, intellectual masturbation. At 35, al-Buni writes 40 treatises on ilm al-huruf, the science of letters. Nobody challenges them. He's inspired by Ibn Arabi's Fusus al-Hikam, and he attempts to explain divine creation through the 28 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Aleph represents Tawhid, the oneness of God. Each letter connects to an aspect of creation. If you truly understand the science of letters, al-Buni argues, you might understand how Allah created the universe. Now here's where things get dark. The year is 1220, and Muslim history changes forever. The Mongols invade. They absolutely devastate Baghdad. Libraries are burned. Over 400,000 books go up in flames. Blood runs in the streets. The Muslim world enters one of its darkest periods. Al-Buni is about 60 years old when this happens. In 1225, he writes a book. It's 40 pages long. He calls it Shams al-Ma'arif wa Lata'if al-Awarif, the sun of knowledge and the subtleties of elevated things. It's a guide for Sufis, for spiritual seekers, for students of divine knowledge. How to advance in spirituality. How to understand the names of Allah. How to purify the soul. That same year, 1225, al-Buni dies. He's buried somewhere in the Egyptian desert. A nameless grave that nobody can find today. And that 40-page book is about to become something very, very different. Here's what most researchers get wrong. They study history but ignore the political and cultural context. They forget to ask what's happening in society when these events occur. So let's talk about what's happening in 1225. On one side, the Crusaders are trying to retake Jerusalem. On another, the Mongol threat is constant and terrifying. And who's leading the Muslims? The Mamluks. These are former slaves who were given military training and eventually seized power. Wherever new leadership emerges, you get people trying to please those in power. Courtiers. Yes men. People who will do anything to stay in favor. Some of these courtiers tell the Mamluk sultans that if they want to defeat the Mongols and Crusaders, they need to fight fire with fire, use magic, harness dark forces, and to please their kings, they start bringing forth books filled with sorcery. Remember, during this time, Jewish mysticism and Islamic practices are mixing freely. The Zohar's Latirism is being taught openly. And slowly, very slowly, Shams al-Ma'arif begins to change. Al-Buni died in 1225, but by 1260, new chapters appear in his book, The Seven Seals, instructions on how to control jinn and evil spirits, how to bind them and use them for personal gain. These chapters are added to a book whose author has been dead for 35 years. By the 1400s, when the Ottoman Empire is at its height, the book is mentioned in Topkapi Palace. Islamic scholar al-Suyuti condemns it, calling it shirk wearing the cloak of righteousness. The book is publicly burned in Damascus. Then in 1830, France occupies Algeria. To manipulate Muslims, they publish the Kubra edition of Shams al-Ma'arif. The big edition, everything included, every dark chapter, every summoning ritual, every forbidden practice. Muslims are outraged. The book is burned again, this time in Najaf, Iraq. In 1925, Saudi Arabia issues an official fatwa. Possessing Shams al-Ma'arif is illegal. Stories are emerging of people using it to marry jinn, to harm others, to pursue forbidden knowledge. Then in 2005, someone leaks a complete PDF online. And in 2023, it happens again. The book resurfaces in online forums, and incidents like Omar's multiply. Now, here's something critical to understand. Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, one of the greatest Islamic scholars, condemned this book outright. He called it shirk. But Ibn Taymiyyah was born in 1263, 38 years after al-Buni died. By the time Ibn Taymiyyah became Sheikh al-Islam and issued his condemnation, over 100 years had passed since al-Buni's death. In those 60 to 100 years, how much was added to that original 40-page manuscript? How much was corrupted by people trying to please kings and sultans by claiming they could control jinn and bend reality? Ibn Taymiyyah said the book leads to shirk because when you use the science of letters to assign numbers and try to control creation, you're no longer submitting to the Creator. You're trying to control His creation. There's a fine line between dhikr, remembrance of Allah, and seer, sorcery. And this book crosses that line repeatedly. So the question becomes, should you read this book? In my view, absolutely not. When you can't tell the difference between remembrance and sorcery, when zikr and shirk become indistinguishable, staying away is the wise choice. But does that mean ilm al-adad, the science of numbers, or ilm al-huruf, the science of letters, is entirely false? That's a different question. Imam al-Ghazali said in 1111 that mathematics is a praiseworthy and neutral science. But even he warned that it leads people toward astronomy and eventually toward shirk. So if something pushes you toward the forbidden, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave clear guidance. Don't even go near evil. Don't approach it. Doing it is obviously forbidden, but even proximity is dangerous. That's what Shams al-Ma'arif has become. Now, am I giving al-Buni a character certificate? Am I saying he was a righteous Sufi and not a sorcerer? My answer is simple. Modern historians say he was a devoted Sufi who wrote only 40 pages. The rest was added after his death. Whether al-Buni was a Sufi or a sorcerer, only Allah knows. I'm not here to assassinate anyone's character, but I will tell you not to read this book, because I don't know which parts are from al-Buni and which parts were corrupted later. You should never need to open this book. But if you're curious about what's inside, let me tell you. The chapters added during the Mamluk period, especially by the 15th century, expanded the book to 40 chapters. One of them is called the Book of Talismans. The Book of Talismans explains how to control an ifrit, a powerful type of jinn. You have to create a 7x7 grid, something called a wafq. Inside these boxes you write letters, not Arabic letters, Hebrew letters, from the Zohar, from Gematria, Jewish mystical numerology. Then you summon the ifrit. You invoke King Solomon's ring and command the jinn to do your bidding. That's the kind of filth you'll find in these chapters. And it gets worse. Another chapter, added around the 14th century, is about jinn alliances. How to make a jinn fall in love with you. How to make someone obsess over you. The incantation begins with O Marid, calling upon a deep-sea jinn. You invoke 19 guardians and command the Marid to make someone's gaze fix on you like the depths of an ocean. This is the knowledge that Harut and Marut allegedly spread, the two angels mentioned in the Quran who taught magic as a test. And Allah makes it clear in Surah Al-Baqarah. Solomon did not commit shirk. Solomon did not disobey. It's the jinn who teach people sorcery. These are the jinn who've already taught this magic. And now it's mixed into people's lives. Witnesses from 17th century Yemen claim that when someone performed this love spell, packs of wild dogs appeared around their home, circling endlessly. The magic didn't work, but the consequences did. In Algeria, people on their deathbeds have confessed, I tried to summon jinn. I destroyed my life. Omar's story isn't unique. In 2015, when the first complete PDF was leaked online, forums exploded with reports. Users on Reddit started a thread titled, I read Shams al-Ma'arif and regret it. Over 1,000 comments, mostly warnings. Sleep paralysis, unexplained scratches, electronics malfunctioning randomly, people begging others not to make the same mistake. In 2010, a young man in Riyadh attempted a jinn summoning ritual from the book. His family found him speaking in languages nobody recognized. It took multiple exorcisms to bring him back. Saudi authorities documented the case. His family gave interviews warning others to stay away from this book. In 2017, 7 university students in Indonesia tried a ritual together. All 7 ended up hospitalized the same night. Collective hallucinations, violent episodes. The local imam had to perform a mass cleansing. Indonesian media covered the story extensively. Then there's the translators. Multiple people have tried to translate Shams al-Ma'arif into English. One died in a car accident in 2003. Another developed severe mental illness in 2011. A third translator's house burned down in 2007, destroying all his manuscripts. Occult researchers noticed the pattern. Everyone who gets too close pays a price. In the 1920s, a famous French occultist who collected grimoires from around the world called Shams al-Ma'arif the most dangerous book I've ever encountered. This man owned texts on every dark art imaginable. But Shams al-Ma'arif was the only book he refused to keep in his collection. He said, "Some knowledge is not meant for human minds." Even modern YouTubers who've attempted to make videos about the book's rituals have seen their channels mysteriously deleted or abandoned. One popular channel with 200,000 subscribers never uploaded again after making a Shams video. The comments section on these videos is always the same. Thousands of warnings from people who tried and regretted it. These aren't medieval superstitions. These are modern, documented incidents, and they keep happening. Now, does this mean Ilm al-Adad or Ilm al-Huruf is entirely false? That numbers and letters have no significance? That's worth exploring. The branches of knowledge we recognize today are incredibly limited. Knowledge is infinite, and Allah has already told us that whatever we learn will always be a tiny fraction of what exists. Here's the key insight. If I know that infinite knowledge exists, that I'll only ever grasp a fraction of it no matter how hard I try, what's my logical response? Total surrender. Total submission. When I know that being Allah possesses all knowledge, my natural response is to fall into sujud, into prostration. This is the core message I try to convey through all my work. Return to Tawhid. Return to complete submission. And Allah promises that when you surrender completely, He'll give you what you need. Nikola Tesla, one of the most celebrated scientists in history, gave an interview in 1931. His exact words? "If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe." If we understood these 3 numbers, Tesla claimed, we'd unlock universal secrets. So there is something there. The science of numbers matters. 3, 6, and 9 exist on an axis. They bring order to chaos. In stock market analysis, traders use something called Mod 9 for pattern spotting. In DNA base pairing, you'll find fractals of 3, 6, and 9 in the helical twist. In quantum fields, vibrations occur in multiples of 3. Maybe that's why our homes use 3-phase electrical systems. But here's the question. Is this knowledge beneficial? Does it bring you closer to Allah? Or does it lead you toward control, toward trying to manipulate creation instead of submitting to the Creator? Shams al-Ma'arif exists in a gray zone that's incredibly dangerous. Some knowledge is neutral, some is beneficial, and some leads you down paths you can't return from. This book has crossed that line. Whether al-Buni was a righteous Sufi or something darker, we'll never truly know. What we do know is that the book attributed to him has been corrupted beyond recognition. 40 pages became 600. Instructions for spiritual purification became rituals for summoning jinn. Remembrance of Allah became indistinguishable from sorcery. Governments have tried to destroy it for 8 centuries. Scholars have condemned it. Imams have warned against it. And yet it survives, spreading through PDFs and online forums, ruining lives one reader at a time. So here's my final message. If you ever come across this book, close it, delete it, walk away. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. Some knowledge isn't meant for us. And some prices are too high to pay for curiosity. Omar learned that lesson the hard way. Thousands of others have too. Don't become another statistic. Don't become another warning story. Because Shams al-Ma'arif doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care if you're just curious. It's been destroying lives for 800 years. And it's not going to stop